the voice of the OKC #1 seed, OKC Thunder, play-by-play announcer, who's been there since 2007.
Wow.
And, hey, look, he used to be with the Charlotte Hornets. He's been all over the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks and all, and can't wait to dive into him. We actually have something in common that he may not know that we're going to dive into real quick. So, the voice and the play-by-play announcer of the #1 seed OKC Thunder, Matt Pinto, joins the show.
Let's do it, Matt.
How you doing, brother?
Great, guys. How are you?
Let me ask you something real quick. I don't know if you knew this, but I was reading through your stuff the other day, and I was like, no way. So I played for a franchise called the Bakersfield Blitz, and we used to go to Hawaii and play the Hawaiian Islanders, where you were what?
They're play-by-play boys. Yeah.
Hey, we beat the hell out of you guys. But anyway, hey, that was some fun times, man. You guys had the trainer for your team who's like a big-time actor. He was the guy on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, we may have missed each other a little bit. I don't even remember the years I was there. I was there for like 3 seasons. We were the Pirates affiliate then, so I don't know.
I was there I was the inaugural season of Arena 2.
Okay.
0102.
Yeah. What I remember about calling games baseball-wise there is the second day in for any visiting team, they were worth nothing. The first day they were okay. They dealt with the time change and all that, but the second day it was always like 12-1, 13-3, that kind of score. Funny.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. Good to have you on, man. I can't thank you enough. Obviously, I wanted to ask you real quick because we got all kind of guests on today. I wanted to ask you real quick. The Lakers lose last night in 5 to a young up-and-coming T-Wolves team. You guys are – the whole thing was, the Lakers can beat the OKC.
Yeah.
That's their kryptonite and blah, blah, blah. What's the biggest threat to OKC now that you're looking through this thing? Is it still Denver? Is it this young and upcoming T-Wolves team, or is it the
Warriors, right?
the young Houston and Warriors matchup?
Honestly, I think if it's anything, it's experience. Because the one thing we don't know about this group, given how young they are, is these will be, relatively new experiences. A lot of these guys went through this last season for the first time, got to the second round, hard-fought series with Dallas. They lost in 6. I think they came back with a lot of lessons learned that they applied this season to win 68 games, dominant in the first round against Memphis. But they know they're confronting some adversity at some point on this playoff run. And they added Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. Those guys have been godsends for them. They really fit in seamlessly with what the Thunder are about. But I think that's the area, Coach, is that we don't know how this team, given its relative inexperience, will handle when they're dealt adversity, because they, set historic marks this season, NBA-wise, in terms of the history of the league, in terms of point differential. So they didn't play a ton of really tight 1-2 possession games. Now, they had a couple of those in the Memphis series on the road. They handled those relatively well down the stretch. But we'll see, because they know that it gets tougher from here.
No doubt.
Yeah, no, that's real, man. And OKC has looked amazing all year long. But to your point, it seemed like the one thing that everybody is, I guess, kind of, second guessing or just being hesitant is literally only experience. Because if you remove that, they look almost like flawless. Like they have fun together. They run the court. They have youth. They have depth. They have Shai Gilgeous, who's will probably be the MVP, but we shall see. They look amazing there. I guess outside of OKC, right now though, who would you say is the team like the scariest team though? Like, you think the Warriors is scary? I know they lost last night or whatever, but they didn't bring their best foot forward. I'm not really counting that. Like, who you say is the scariest team out west?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as much as this may be counter to the flow of what's being spoken and what the national narrative is, I just think a lot of people are still overlooking Denver. They've got the championship pedigree. Jamal Murray showed what he's big game capable of with the 43-point performance in Game 5 that puts them in the driver's seat now against the Clippers. And that team with Jokic, and if Murray is healthy, I know Aaron Gordon is playing through some calf stuff, and Michael Porter Jr. is kind of up and down with that shoulder. But I just think that the veteran composition of that team, and they've won it in 2023. A lot of people just forwarded the Clippers through this series thinking it may go 6 or 7, but they're the better team. They have a deeper roster. They'll persevere and win it. Denver's on the brink of being the Thunder's next opponent. So I don't think you can overlook them. I don't think, honestly, guys, and I felt this way about the Lakers going into the playoffs, they're an incomplete team. Golden State's an incomplete team. So will that come back and bite them at some point on this playoff run? Conventional wisdom is yes, but we'll see. I mean, age is an issue for the Clipper roster, for the Warrior roster. At some point, does that become a factor for either of those teams? So I think there are a lot of exciting, enticing questions to be answered in the Western Conference from here. And we've got game sixes coming up, and we'll see how they unfold in San Francisco tomorrow night with Houston and Golden State, and tonight in LA. Clippers fighting for their lives to force a game 7 against Denver.
Hey, Matt, I got your story's fascinating. Let me ask you, so are you a Texas boy or where are you from?
I'm from Boston originally.
Boston, okay. So you've been everywhere. Yeah. So did you go from the Clippers to Seattle to OKC when they moved, or how'd that work?
Yes. Yeah, I was with the Sonics their last season there and moved from Seattle to Oklahoma City, and I've been here since. 35 seasons in the league. I pinch myself, honestly, because that's pretty amazing when I reflect back on when this all started in Charlotte. But I've got to tell you guys, like I've never experienced a team as connected as this one is and as committed to the right things. I mean, these guys are so non-agendized about the way they approach the game. They know no better than to just compete. Doesn't matter what the scoreboard says, the standings say, and as a result, they finished 16 games in front of their closest pursuer in the Western Conference in the regular season. They know, because they have used this adage in this rebuild, which only lasted about 3 seasons, the 0-0 mentality is what served them. They come to work every day recognizing what we earn today will be ours because we put in the work, and we're committed to have that happen. And that really has served them. As I say, I think they recognize there's some adversity in front of them at some point on this playoff run, and we'll see how they effectively deal with that, because they certainly have throughout the course of this season to this point. I mean, game 3 in Memphis, they're down 29 and find a way to rally and come back and win that thing by 6.
Yeah. So in the event that OKC goes ahead and finishes, this season off, with the championship, where do you put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in terms of just, I guess, OKC's all-time greats? Like, does he instantly just get to the top of that list, or where would you rank him personally?
Well, I mean, he's the first to say, don't talk about me in the same breath as the greats. I haven't won anything yet. When I do, those comparatives can start to surface. And I think it's the same here. I mean, Kevin Durant got this team, along with the cast that was with them in 2012, to an NBA Finals. Shai's not done that yet, and he recognizes that. But you look at the individual numbers he's put up the last 3 seasons, they're Jordan-like. I mean, 30-plus points, a steal and a half a game per season, shooting 50+% from the field. Nobody's done that since Michael did it in the repetition that he seemed to throughout the course of his career. The thing that separates the greats like Jordan from SGA is winning at the highest level. He's committed to that. He's shown incredible leadership skills and understanding what the Thunder culture is about in this reboot that went on 4 seasons ago when they traded Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder, handed him the keys to the car. It completely unestablished as a lead guard in the NBA, played off the ball more than on the ball prior to that in his first 2 seasons. But he's just taken this and run with it. And he's got that insatiable guy's, I think, hunger to be the absolute best. He's incredibly humble in the way he approaches things. He really works to empower his teammates. And I think the best thing about what he's accomplished is his success has not come at the expense of the team. It's amplified this team.
Man.
Let me ask you, Matt, is there a genre or a crew out here who separates Seattle's Supersonics and the OKC as far as when we talk about the greats? To Smitty's question, like, is there a section of the GPs and the Shaun Kemps and the Detlef Shrimps and all the greats that have come out of Seattle versus the OKC genre when it changed over? Because you've been in both. Is there like 2 separate organizations when they talk about greats, or no?
Yeah, very much. The Thunder view their history as the time that they, in essence, drove stakes in the ground in OKC versus Seattle. So they've completely separated from the history of the Sonics. In fact, if and when Seattle receives an expansion franchise, the Thunder have told them, you can have the Supersonics name if you choose to, and all of the history, because we made this move and now we're committed to establish new ground. And they've done an incredible job of that here.
Nice. No, that was just interesting. Let me ask you one question regarding LA. Because you covered the team, the Clippers.
Yeah.
An organization who I've always called the JV team, obviously with 17 titles in LA and the Lakers, and then they shared the arena. They used to play. I don't remember when you were there, but they used to play here in Anaheim, where the Ducks played at the Pond and all that stuff. Never really a true LA team. I know they came from San Diego. Where are you at with this organization as a whole? Like, they just can't get over the hump. I know it's funny and everyone uses the word curse, but what really is it? Because they've had legendary players. They've had unbelievable youth and athleticism, from the Ron Harper days to the Blake Griffin days to I go back to, great centers and Benoit Benjamin, who was uber talented. Stanley Roberts came with him. Like, I'm a fan of the game. So I remember all these great Clippers, Norman and Nixon, and where are they at with this particular organization? What has to happen to get them over the hump to win a title?
Well, just addressing what you're saying, our TV analyst Michael Cage was drafted by the Clippers and started his career in LA after playing at San Diego State. So he knows some of those inner workings as well. I separate the two, honestly, guys, from the Donald Sterling years to the current regime under Steve Ballmer, because Ballmer's done all he can financially to push this team away from the identity of the Lakers. Brand new arena now, the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. So he's doing, to me, everything he can. He's got a terrific coach in Tyronn Lue. He's assembled a roster. Paul George was not what he had hoped Paul George would be in LA, has moved on to Philly. But Kawhi Leonard healthy, James Harden, Ivica Zubac's emergence, they have a real roster. I mean, the roster is deep. It's defensive-minded. It can be explosive. So I think they have a shot with this group. Now, I don't know how long this group will be together. That's part of the in and out of the NBA currently and the way that Ballmer spends money. But I think that if they can find a way past the Nuggets, I think the Thunder Clipper series would be incredibly intriguing and likely go a good distance. It would be a heck of a back and forth because both teams are so good defensively. That would be one of those, it's a throwback, I think. Teams winning like 97-95.
Yeah, I would love. I actually, from a matchup standpoint, from a fan perspective, I would prefer to see those two teams match up versus the Nuggets and OKC. I just, just a matchup thing. Where, to your point, I just think it would be better games will come out of it from TV standpoint. It's funny you mentioned the Paul George thing, man. It's like I bet right now the Clippers, like in hindsight, is looking at how great Shai Gilgeous is and has become. And it's like, man, like people forget they had Shai, Kawhi, they had them right there in their backyard, and they just gave them up.
Yeah, what's crazy is that trade of PG to the Clippers at the time was propped up as possibly a steal for the Thunder in the sense of the 5 first-round picks they got.
Right.
Everyone overlooked. They also got Danilo Gallinari in that trade, who helped them in that first season in OKC get to the playoffs in the bubble down in Orlando in the transition from the previous iteration to the current. But yeah, Shai, I think that, Doc Rivers has said this a number of times. I really thought he'd be an all-star caliber player. I didn't think he'd be this. I didn't think he'd become a superstar the way he has. So I think everybody were misguided in their view of how good he could be, including the Thunder. The Thunder will, when the truth serum is put in them, will say the same thing. We never envisioned this. But the thing the Thunder have always done is never put a ceiling on the expectations of a player that they acquire. They want to give them the runway to kind of declare themselves as who they are. And over time, they've done a really good job, obviously, developing young talent here. And that's systematically been the case really since the outset.
No doubt. Let me ask you something real quick. The small market franchises like OKC and these other teams, and I love Oklahoma, by the way. I was always in Tulsa and OKC as I coached there in Kansas. How are they more relevant right now than a big market team like the Clippers? Again, back to the question. And then you obviously being from Boston, they're obviously, this could be an OKC Boston finals for them to go 2-up on the Lakers as far as banners being hung. What's the big difference that you've been in all these markets? What is the biggest difference? Is it just resources? Is it population? Is it buy-in from outside sources? Like, what's the biggest difference in the market? Is it just media coverage?
Yeah, I think media coverage is definitely one. The Northeast is relentless, as you guys know, in terms of the religious following of teams that they have passion for. So they know their stuff. They let anybody involved in the locker rooms of teams that they're following and rooting for know that they know their stuff. And so, the Phillies, the Bostons, the New Yorks can be pretty relentless in the way that they are after and obviously critical and cynical about different things that go on. I think the biggest thing in the structure of the NBA is the Thunder sort of surrendered to this years ago. And that is, we got to make it happen through the draft. We got to develop our guys, draft them, develop them, and cultivate that sort of culture. Because unless they make significant trades, which they've done a handful of times, that's how they have to sustain. To their credit, and this is maybe homerish in sounding, but really objectively, what they've done over a period of time in a complete reboot here with a totally different team than the one that went to the NBA Finals in 12, and then to the Western Conference Finals. It had that Warrior historic great team on the brink of elimination in the Western Finals, down 3-1. The Warriors recovered and went on to lose to Cleveland in that NBA Finals. But when you look at how that's evolved here, I think you credit Sam Presti and his staff for understanding what the economics of the game are in this market size. So this is almost collegiate-like, Coach, in the sense of the amount of passion this fan base has for the Thunder, and it's statewide. So I think that sixth man is very evident. They've had that extraordinary support, but they've had 6 different Hall of Fame players come through here, if Shea's one of those, over a period of time that is, 17 seasons? That's unheard of. So my point is that I think that teams in their respective markets have to recognize if they're free agent attractive places, then maybe they move their energies in that direction over time. And we've seen that consistently. If you're in a market this size, you got to make it happen through the draft. That's got to be the foundation of what you do. No matter how much TV money is out there nationally, there are markets that have an inherent advantage, even given the way the NBA has tried to level the playing field, because they're attractive as free agent destinations. Oklahoma City has not been. And so I think they go about their business in that way.
Smitty, last thing I got for Matt real quick. And you covered both of these and you know the whole ins and outs. I got to ask you, how – I don't know the word. How bad would it hurt the KD legacy if OKC goes out here and wins a title and KD left, getting beat by obviously LeBron. Then he goes and chases a ring with Steph and obviously wins a couple there, but then literally have been irrelevant since. Does this hurt his legacy per se, as far as just what he couldn't get done? And then let's say Gilgeous-Alexander gets it done. Is that a big knock on him or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think that anybody that was with the organization or around it when he left didn't leave on the best terms. So I think that people from the outside view how would his legacy be impacted by this Thunder team hitting higher heights differently than those of us around do. Because, I think immediately the sense was Kevin's going to Golden State. He won 2 rings there. He was an NBA Finals MVP twice. Good on him. It establishes his career, and he is set Hall of Fame-wise, and his legacy is in stone. I think here the way that came down did not sit well. And so the sense of, Kevin eventually is going to have his number in the rafters, and he's going to come back to great adulation just has not been the case. So I just think that, it's a hard question to answer because of that. I think that, Russ, the loyalty he showed through those years and through that period of time may have a statue here, when he retires. And when you compare the two players, you'd say Kevin Durant, historically, probably the better talent, the more sustainable talent in the NBA. But I think when you talk about Russ's legacy, that's more in line with a question like that than Kevin's is, honestly.
Ooh, so real quick, because you mentioned that point. So do you think there's a chance that we could see Russ's statue in OKC, but not see a KD statue? You think that's possible?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Wow, yeah. Crazy. Russ hung through the tough times.
Yeah. I remember
very
that.
Loyal. Yeah. To the organization. Whereas what went on with Kevin was really, a blindside situation, honestly.
But KD spent what was it, 7 or 8 years? How long did he spend before he left?
It was 8 or 9. His first 8 or 9 seasons. Yeah.
If I'm working inside OKC facility and a team, I can understand that perspective. From outside looking in, I'm like, man, he gave you guys 8, 9 of some of your best years.
No question.
Went to NBA Finals, balled out, MVP. He did a lot to where I just feel like if we remove the emotions from it. I'm like, KD, without a doubt, should have his jersey retired there. But I get it.
And we'll see. Maybe, time heals all. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see over time. Yeah.
Russ has that, though. Having coached his brother in football here in L.A. and been around him, he has that regardless of where he goes, Matt, right? Like, everywhere he goes, he's pretty much a loyal creature, and he wants to play as hard as he can for himself, number one, which kind of permeates throughout the team. Like, he's going to give you his all, and that's kind of you can say what you want
in Denver even now. Still, he just had a great game.
And guys, he's one of one. I mean, there's never been another Russell Westbrook. There never will be another because of what he brings. I mean, his competitive juices always flow. But teammates of his, fans that follow him, recognize that underneath all of that, like, tough exterior is a heart of gold. I mean, he's been incredible in the community still here in Oklahoma City. He's incredible in the community in Denver. We see that all the time, the way he interacts with fans. And the guy, for his rough edges and his unwillingness at times to deal effectively with the media, that's changed a little bit. You can't deny what he's accomplished as a player, as an athlete. And he's gone through different phases of what he's capable of accomplishing, and still a force when he's out there, sometimes for better, sometimes borderline worse. We've seen that in this postseason run for Denver.
No doubt. Man, I can't thank you enough. Last thing for me, who would you prefer to play out of the Houston Golden State series, a younger athletic team or a veteran, wily bunch of veterans? I know you mentioned experience is your biggest fear probably for your particular team. Would you rather see a younger team that's inexperienced right now?
My answer to that question is yes. I'd love to see the Thunder in the Western Finals. So, I mean, I don't want to look past what's in front of them in who survives the 4-5 matchup, Denver and LA. So, I mean, honestly, I'm in the water of embedded in their own approach, and that is this day, winning this day. And winning, honestly, the off days in the playoffs, because they've had now 3 different extended stretches where they've had off time. They've got to find a way to effectively navigate. So they're ready to go Monday or Tuesday for game 1 of the Western semifinals.
No doubt. Man, Matt, good luck to you guys, man. I know you're there now calling them and do a great job. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. Hopefully we can get you back on maybe if you guys are in the finals and hopefully playing your home team, Boston.
That'd be fun. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, brother. Can't thank you enough. Thank you.